the operations as well as expansion for American Oncology Institute and Citizens Hospital. So we're I mean, not a startup anymore, but in terms of healthcare terms, I know Suresh has mentioned and Venu and several others before me have said, repeatedly said that healthcare is a long-term play. Right? We've been in existence for about 4 years now. I still consider ourselves a startup. We just started our second branch, so we've just gotten over that hurdle, right? And we've had our really, downs and getting onto the up now, right? We've just had a PE fund, large PE fund invest in us. But nonetheless, it's a long journey. You're really, no offense to the doctors here, but you're dealing with doctors on a day-to-day basis, and there's a lot of competition. It's numbers is one thing, and Suresh had said 1 billion population, 1.2 billion population. Even if one person pays 1 rupee, right, it's going to be a huge company. As we're all in Hyderabad, this is the most competitive and dirty market that you can see all over India. I mean, as a part of my job, I go into other areas, Delhi, Bombay, Chennai, we're trying to set up hospitals outside, right? But nobody is as competitive as Hyderabad, In terms of oncology, I'll give you some numbers, might be relevant, might not be, but just in terms of scale, we have 27 linear accelerators in the city of Hyderabad. Bombay and Delhi put together don't have that, right? PET CTs, you name it. And it could be transitioned to, your areas as well. And I realize I'm talking more on the brick and mortar hospital setup side, and a lot of faces I see are, and people talking about technology and how enabling things and aggregating things. But I think the problems will be the same, You're in this for the long haul, The only thing that has gotten us here after 4 years, 4.5 years is really sheer grit and determination, and, but long story short, you're in for the long run, right? So, sit tight, I'm sure. And one important thing, right? And again, healthcare, Venu has said, it's that emotional connect, right? Even though it is transaction based, a lot of it has to do with your reputation. Okay, you might not be seeing the patients, right? But a lot of it has to do with reputation. Right? When we came in, it's an American partnership. We have U.S. partners coming in. They didn't understand the local dynamics, right? They came in and said, okay, it's going to run like in the U.S. I'm going to lift my hospital from the U.S., put it here, protocols. We talked like at this level, right? But when we really get down to get to a patient, whether it's like, somebody paying the ambulance guy, paying an RMP, it is a difficult area to be in, right? You can get over all that. It's just that, these are, you'll hit hurdles. But the important thing is once you have the right idea, once you test it out, once you say that, okay, I have the market, not just create a product or a platform, because, I often try to help, startups and things like that. And when somebody comes and says, I want to be Uber of this or an aggregator of that, I'm kind of taken aback, right? So, find an area that is a niche, right? To find an area that you can really help someone. Money will follow, right? Of course, you need finances. Family is the biggest, support I've seen in a lot of startups. Next come, friends, and then, you all. One thing I do also believe is kindness in strangers, right? A lot of the projects that I've seen have succeeded not because of, some mentor, somewhere, all this helps, but I've seen strangers help us, right? Where we've hit a roadblock. I've really owed it to people who had nothing to do with the project, right? Had nothing to do with the project. So coming back to where we started healthcare, you're in for the long haul. I'm here, thanks to TiE for providing such a wonderful platform. And honestly, I didn't expect that. I was telling Sridevi, I expected a much younger crowd, right? Looks like you guys have done a lot of things, already have. That's why I said you're a lot younger, right? But anyway, I see that you all have, your own success stories. It's wonderful that there is a platform that, we can all share our pains and gains and, how we get there. So I'm here throughout the day. I'll be more than happy to kind of, if it has to do with hospitals, platforms, I'll be able to kind of share what I know and the little I've gathered over the last few years and help out in any way possible. But thanks Sridevi, thanks TiE. Sure. So fine, I'll take 2 minutes and kind of go through. I don't think it's a, I mean, we're still going through the journey. A success or not, time will tell. And success, right? I mean, just to talk about success, if you ask my mom, you know, 10th grade, got, I think 53%, right? And she thought that was the best thing ever, right? That was success for her. My dad, you know, took the belt out, right? If you ask my mom, my wife now, you know, even if I went to the moon, she probably would say, you could have probably gone there faster, right? So it's all relative. It's all very, very, very relative. So don't go by, you know, other people defining what success is, at least according to me. You know, we all choose our own paths. It's how much, you know, long we're willing to kind of stay on that path and, you know, how flexible we are, etc., etc. But company-wise, we started in 2009. We started building in 2009. As I said, it's a US company. You know, we were going through the recession. Money came from there. So, you know, we hit roadblocks even before we began, right? So we found a piece of land. We thought Hyderabad would be awesome. You know, I'm from here and, you know, my family is into healthcare. So we started slow. By the time the building was done, it was 2012, right? We thought it would take 2. It took 3 years. So 1 year is a lot of time to lose. Again, talking about time, right? I see people saying you started in March, right? It's a luxury that to kind of get where you are in 3 months, 4 months. But you know, we built the building in about 3 years' time. We've been operational. American Oncology, I'm not sure how many people have heard about it, but we're a decent name. Okay, so largely due to the fact that we really connect to the customer. We really connect to the customer. Being a US organization, you know, even if we wanted to, we're not allowed to do certain things, whether it's referrals or, you know, we can't, right? I'd be put in jail being a director. So, you know, but one of the things that has really worked for us is that customer connect. You know, doctors are, I believe that, you know, all doctors, all hospitals set out with the same goal, right? Treating the patient, giving them an excellent level of service, and, you know, most of the hospitals are giving you the same medicine, right? But the difference is, you know, how comfortable the patient is outside of the doctor's office, okay? How my nurse kind of holds the hand, sits the patient down, you know, how we actually call the patient up after the visit is done, you know, after the visit is done, have you taken the medicine or not? I know, you know, companies are trying to solve that problem also, but as an institute, as a one location institute, you know, we've taken a lot of importance on the non-clinical side as well. You know, we have digital records, you know. We started out that way that, you know, this is our core, digital records, US protocols, you know, all this glamorous stuff, right? But it all comes down to, at the end of the day, how the patient feels when he leaves the facility. It's not a nice thing to be health, you know. I always tell the patients that come to the facility, you know, patients heal better at home, right? Not in a hospital environment. Patients definitely feel better at home. So we've done things a little differently at American Oncology. What we say is, you know, it's mostly daycare, you know, except when it's surgeries and things like that. You know, chemotherapy is 80 to 90% of the time a daycare, where it's the opposite in other hospitals. So as long as the patient is clinically fit to go home, we send them home, right? Because, you know, all rooms are outward facing, small things, you know, you wouldn't even notice. The nurses are always by the, you know, it costs a little bit more, but again, as I said, to find that niche of yours, to kind of give the service that you set out to do, right, is going to, you know, get you to that success that you're looking for. So long story short, we've been in operations for about 4 years now, right? We've just opened our second branch in Guntur. We're working with the Hero Group. We're starting another branch in Ludhiana. And yeah, we have deals signed in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Myanmar. And it all started here in Hyderabad. This is still the only center. Second one started a few weeks ago. But there is opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity in healthcare. again, you have to pick your area, and are you really solving a problem or not is the question. And you only know that, when you kind of go through the journey.